I'm Rachel. I'm 34. And 2 Decembers ago, my younger sister accidentally added me to the wrong group chat. 52 messages. Every single one of them about a Christmas they had been planning without me, for the third year in a row. My mom typed it out plain. Don't let her find out about any of this. My brother replied 2 messages below hers. Just give her the wrong date, same as we did last time. My dad dropped a laughing emoji and kept scrolling. And I was sitting alone in a roadside hotel room in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, nearly 400 miles from home, reading every last word on a cracked phone screen at 9:30 at night. I screenshotted all 52 messages. And on Christmas morning, while they were all sitting around the table feeling real good about how smooth everything was going, I typed one line into that chat. Merry Christmas. Your title agent will explain the rest. Chat went completely silent. Then the phone calls started. 89 of them in just under an hour. But here's what none of them ever bothered to check. A document filed at the county recorder's office 10 years earlier, signed by a woman who loved me more carefully, more quietly, and more permanently than any of them ever had the heart to. 52 messages showed me exactly where I stood in this family. One message showed them exactly where the ground was. Welcome to Silent Revenge, real stories about real people who stopped apologizing for taking up space and let the truth do the talking. If you've ever been the one left off the invite, handed the wrong date, or told you're overreacting when all you did was notice, this one is for you. Stay with me to the very end because the moment they realized what Grandma Lois had done 10 years ago will give you chills. Drop a comment, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed so the next story finds you right when you need it. It was the first week of December, and I was staying at a budget hotel just outside Baton Rouge. 3 weeks into a pipeline inspection job at an oil facility. I work in industrial inspection, refineries, water treatment plants, pressure systems. Kind of work where missing one thing doesn't just cost money. Costs lives. So I don't cut corners. I check everything twice. My coworkers joke that I read every tiny warning label on a coffee cup. That evening I was sitting at the desk eating leftover takeout and going through emails when my phone started going off. Once. Twice. Then again and again. I picked it up and saw I had been added to a group chat I had never seen before. The thread was called Fam Christmas Countdown with a row of snowflake emojis. 52 messages stacked up underneath it like a tower I had no business walking into. My sister Kayla, she is 27, the youngest, had sent me a private message about 30 seconds after adding me. I'm wrong, channel. Don't even look at that. I was already looking. The first few messages were normal enough. My older brother Darren asking if the 25th worked for everyone. My mom Pamela confirming yes. My dad Roger sending a thumbs up. Standard family stuff. Then around message 9 everything shifted and my stomach went with it. Message 9. Kayla, Mom, finally we don't have to stress about Rachel asking a million questions. Message 10. Darren, facts. Way easier this way. I kept reading. My name showed up 0 times in the planning. 4 times in the managing. Message 13. Darren, same as last year, just tell her the wrong date. Message 15. Mom, tell her the 30th, say it's a small thing, low-key. Message 17. Dad, a laughing emoji with tears running down its little yellow face. Not a single word. Just laughing. Message 24. Kayla, what if she actually calls to check? Message 25. Mom, she won't push back. She never does. I put the phone face down on the bed. Picked it up. Put it back down. 52 messages, and not one of them was an invitation. 4 of them existed specifically to make sure one never came. Kayla texted me privately again. Seriously, Ratchet's nothing. Ignore it. I didn't answer. I opened the group chat and started taking screenshots. Top to bottom. Every single one. Before I go further, let me tell you who I am. 'Cause it matters for everything that comes next. I am a 34-year-old pipeline inspector from Clarkton, Tennessee, certified for 12 years. I spend about half my time on the road: Houston, Baton Rouge, Tulsa, Corpus Christi, sometimes Montana. I eat a lot of meals alone at hotel desks. I trust written records over feelings every single time because in my work, the thing most likely to save you is the thing that got written down and filed before anything went wrong. I am the middle kid of 3. Darren is the oldest, big personality, knows everyone in town, the kind of guy who gets free drinks at every bar on the east side of Clarkton just because people genuinely like him. Kayla is the youngest, pretty, social, always front and center. And then there is me. I was the one who turned in the homework on time, read the instructions all the way through, and never got voted anything in high school. That was fine. I told myself that for years. I convinced myself that being steady and reliable was its own kind of place in a family. I thought showing up counted as belonging. I sent Mom birthday flowers every single year, even when I was on a job site 12 hours away. I handled all of Grandma Lois's paperwork after she passed, drove back from Shreveport 3 weekends in a row to get it done right. When Dad had knee surgery and couldn't drive, I took 4 days of leave and stayed in their spare room. When Darren's roof started leaking during a bad storm and he was too wrapped up in his own life to handle it, I found a contractor from Texas, called during my lunch break, and put the deposit on my card. I never asked to be thanked. I just assumed that being the one who showed up was the same as being the one who mattered. I was wrong about that for a long, long time. And I did not realize just how wrong until message 13 landed in a chat I was never supposed to see. Last Christmas, the one before the Baton Rouge hotel room, I drove to Clarkton with a foil pan of homemade macaroni and cheese and a bottle of my dad's favorite Tennessee whiskey. They told me dinner was the 30th. I showed up on the 30th. One car in the driveway. Lights low inside. The wreath still on the door, but the house had that hollow feeling, the kind where you know before you knock. I called Mom. She picked up on the 4th ring, voice breezy and easy. "Oh honey, we ended up moving Christmas to the 25th this year. Last minute thing. I thought Kayla texted you." I was standing on their porch holding a warm pan of food going cold in December air. I said, "That's okay. My bad for not double-checking. It was not okay. And it was not my bad. But I did not know the full picture yet." Back in the hotel, still scrolling. Message 31 landed like a punch. "Darren, closing is the 28th. Just keep her out of it till after." Closing. I read that word 3 times. Closing on what? 2 messages later. "Mom, Karen says the buyers want to walk through Christmas afternoon. We need the place empty by noon." Karen. Buyers. Walk through. They were selling something. And whatever it was, they needed me nowhere close to it. And the only property that came to mind, the only thing in the world that made sense, was the house on Magnolia Lane. Grandma Lois's house. I need to stop right here and tell you about Lois and Calloway, my grandmother on my mom's side, because without her, none of what happens next is possible. She was 5 feet tall on a good day. She made the best sweet potato pie in all of Clarkton. She kept crossword puzzle books in every single room of her house, and she never went to bed without finishing at least 1 page. But most importantly, she noticed things. She noticed me when I went quiet. She noticed when I had been crying and did not want to say so. She noticed when nobody at the family table was saving me a seat, and she pulled one over herself without making it a big deal. Her house at 318 Magnolia Lane was a white craftsman bungalow with a wide front porch, a big pecan tree in the backyard, and a kitchen that always smelled like cornbread even when the oven was cold. I lived there for 6 months after a really bad breakup when I was 25 and could barely function. She gave me the back bedroom with the yellow curtains, fed me soup, and never asked a single question until I was ready to answer. She gave me a key the year she turned 76. Thanksgiving dinner right in front of everyone. She walked me to the front door, took a brass key off a little hook by the coat closet and pressed it into my hand. She said it loud enough for the whole table to hear, This is your home whenever you need it, Rachel. That doesn't change. Mom gave one of her tight little smiles. No warmth in it. Mama, she's not homeless. Grandma Lois didn't even look at her. She kept her eyes right on me. Keep it. I nodded. I thought she was just being sweet. I carried that key on my ring for 10 years. This thick, heavy brass thing, older style, didn't match anything else. I had it with me on every job, every flight, every hotel in every city. I never took it off. I didn't understand what she had actually done until the night that County Recorder website finished loading in my Baton Rouge hotel room. Here is what I found. County Recorder's website for Clarkton took forever to load, the kind of slow that makes you think the whole server is running on one old desktop computer in somebody's back office. But when it finally came up, I typed in the address, 318 Magnolia Lane, Clarkton, Tennessee. I found the original 1981 deed from when Grandma Lois and her late husband first bought the place. A refinance from 2003. A paid-off mortgage from 2015. And then one more entry, dated 10 years ago, a quitclaim deed with a document number I could click. I clicked it. The scan came up grainy and a little crooked on the page, the way county scans always are. But the words were perfectly clear. Quitclaim deed. Grantor, Lois and Calloway. Grantees, Pamela Jean Harper and Rachel and Harper as tenants in common. I read it again. Then a third time. Then I sat back in my chair and just let it all sink in. Grandma Lois had not just given me a key to a door. She had given me the deed. Filed. Notarized. Stamped. Kind of thing that does not disappear because someone finds you inconvenient. She had not been sentimental at that Thanksgiving table. She had been sharp. She had been exact. I went through every other filing on that address. No transfer out. No deed from me to anyone. No court order removing my name. My name, Rachel and Harper, was sitting right there in the county's own system. Co-owner of 318 Magnolia Lane. Same as it had been for 10 years. County Recorder did not care that I had been given the wrong Christmas date. County Recorder only knew what was filed. And what was filed said I was an owner. I remember the day she signed it. I was 24 and Grandma Lois had called me out of the blue on a random Tuesday and asked if I could come home that weekend. She had a small heart scare a few weeks before, not a full heart attack, just a warning. The doctor had told her to think about getting her affairs in order. When I got there Friday night, she told me we had an errand Saturday morning. I figured it was a doctor visit. It was not. We drove to a notary office downtown, a small place above a dry cleaner on Cedar Street. Grandma Lois had the papers already ready. She sat across from the notary, a nice older woman named Mrs. Pittman who smelled like lavender and had been a notary for 30 years, and she explained calmly that she wanted to add me to the title of 318, Magnolia Lane as a tenant in common. That way the house would not get stuck in a long legal process, and I would have something that was mine. She signed. I signed. Mrs. Pittman stamped it. We dropped the original at the recorder's office on the way to a diner for pancakes. The whole thing took 40 minutes. When we got back to the house, Mom was in the kitchen. Grandma Lois told her what she had done. She did not make it soft or apologetic. Mom's face went completely flat. You put Rachel on the deed. You are already on it, Pamela. Now Rachel is too. Mama, that is not necessary. She does not even live here. Grandma Lois poured 2 glasses of sweet tea and handed me one. The papers filed. It's done. I remember feeling awkward, like I had been handed something in front of someone who believed I did not deserve it. I said thank you and changed the subject as fast as I could. I did not understand what she had actually given me that day. I do now. Back in Baton Rouge, it was past 2 in the morning. I had the deed open in one tab. 52 screenshots in a folder on my desktop. I went back and forth between them like I was reading 2 different reports on the same inspection. The deed said I was a co-owner. Chat said they were selling. The math was not hard. You cannot sell a property with two owners on the deed and only get one of them to sign. That is not a loophole or a fine print thing. That is just how property law works. No title company worth anything would clear a closing with my name sitting on that deed unaccounted for. No buyer's lender would approve a loan against a title that was not clean. The sale would stop cold. And stopping a real estate closing 1 week before Christmas is close enough to killing it completely. I closed the laptop and lay on that hotel bed staring at the ceiling. The air conditioner hummed. Parking lot light leaked in under the curtain. I reached for my phone to call Grandma Lois, muscle memory. She has been gone 2 years and I still do it sometimes when something does not add up and I need someone steady. She always knew what to do. She had already done it. 10 years ago. 40 minutes above a dry cleaner on Cedar Street. She did not tell me what to do with what she had given me because she trusted me to figure it out. I looked at the brass key sitting on the desk next to my laptop. Closing was December 28th. It was December 4th, 24 days. Hold on right there, I need you to pause and think about something before we go further. Has someone in your life ever made you feel like your needs were too much? Like you were always the last one to know, the last one invited, the last one considered? Like you only got a seat at the table when they needed something from you? That hits close to home, stay with me. 'Cause what happens next is for every single person who ever kept quiet when they should have let the record speak. And while you are here, drop your city in the comments right now. Tell us where you are watching from and what time it is there. Our Silent Revenge family is all over the world and I love knowing where these stories are landing. I will read every single one. Now, I need to tell you about someone who becomes really important in the second half of this story. Her name is Deja. Deja is my cousin. She is 30 years old, the granddaughter of Grandma Lois through a different branch of the family, through Grandma Lois's late son Marcus. Deja and I had been close as little kids, lost touch in our 20s the way cousins do, and had slowly started texting again over the past year. She works as a paralegal at a law firm in Nashville, which turned out to matter a whole lot more than either of us expected. She texted me the morning after I found the chat. She had no idea what was going on. She just said she had dreamed about Grandma Lois and wanted to check in. I called her instead of texting back. I told her everything in about 8 minutes flat. She went quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Rachel, is the key still on your ring?" "Yeah." "Do not take it off. And don't say one single word to any of them yet. Not one." Deja was the one who told me to contact the county recorder in writing, email with a timestamp, so there would be a record that I had confirmed my ownership before the closing date. She was the one who told me to find a real estate attorney through the state bar referral line and not through anyone in Clarkton. Clarkton is a small town. Everybody talks to everybody. The last thing I needed was my family getting a heads up through somebody's mutual connection before I was ready. I followed every single thing she said. The next morning Mom called. I let it ring twice, took a breath, made my voice as normal as I could and picked up. "Hey, sweetheart." Warm as a fireplace. Warm in the particular way someone gets when they need everything to go smooth. So we're keeping Christmas small this year, just the 4 of us. But if you get back from your work thing by the 30th, come over for leftovers. Nothing fancy. The 30th. Right on schedule. Exactly what the chat said to tell me. Sounds good, Mom. I'll check my schedule. Perfect. Don't stress yourself out over it. She laughed. I didn't. I said goodbye and saved the call log. December 5th, 8:47 a.m. Duration 1 minute and 58 seconds. Under 2 minutes to lie to your daughter. She didn't even stumble once. A few days later, Darren called. He didn't call to tell me anything on purpose. He just talked the way people do when they're nervous and embarrassed and trying to fill space. His landscaping and hardscape business outside Clarkton had been struggling hard. He had expanded fast 2 years back, new trucks, new equipment, 6 new hires, a big bank loan. Mom had co-signed it. Then a long commercial contract fell apart, a rainy spring killed all the residential work, and some equipment needed expensive repairs that wiped out what little cushion he had left. He didn't say all that directly. He just said, "Things are a little tight right now." Then, like letters from the bank kind of tight. I didn't push. I didn't need to. The whole picture came together on its own. Darren's business was going under. The co-signed loan meant Mom's credit, and possibly her savings, were on the line if he defaulted. Grandma Lois's house was paid off free and clear. A craftsman bungalow on a nice street in Clarkton could easily bring $240–260. More than enough to pay off the loan and get everyone out from under the bank. It was not personal the way a slap is personal. It was a money problem, and I was the complication they had decided to go around instead of through. They did not freeze me out because they disliked me. They froze me out because including me would have meant treating me like someone whose answer mattered. And that right there was the thing they could not bring themselves to do. Before we hung up, Darren said one thing I wrote down word for word on the hotel notepad. "We just figured you didn't really care about the old place anymore. You're never around. We figured you didn't care." December 12th, I found the listing. I searched the name Karen Brewer and the word realtor in Clarkton, Tennessee, and she came up in about 3 seconds. Brewer Premier Realty, east side of town. Karen had 318 Magnolia Lane right there on her active listings page. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, front porch, pecan tree out back. Asking $248,000. Listed 2 weeks prior. I clicked the photos. Someone had staged the whole house. Grandma Lois's rocking chair, the tall cane-backed one she had kept for 30 years, was gone. A gray sectional I had never seen was sitting in its place. Kitchen had been repainted white. The back porch where she used to eat breakfast and do her crosswords had a new patio set on it, the kind from a catalog, the kind with no history in it at all. The back bedroom with the yellow curtains, where I had slept for 6 months when I was 25 and barely holding myself together, had been emptied out and staged with furniture that looked like it had never belonged to anyone. They had wiped her out of that house before they even sold it. I closed the laptop, picked up the brass key, and held it in both hands for a long moment. Then I opened a blank document on my laptop and typed one line. "Do not react. Do not call anyone. Let the paperwork do it." Saved it. Shut the laptop. Went to bed. Didn't sleep much. December 14th, I called a real estate attorney in Nashville. His name was Marcus Webb. I found his number through the Tennessee State Bar's referral line, and I called him from my parked rental car during my lunch break, engine off, windows up. I gave him the full picture in about 5 minutes. Co-owner on a recorded deed, tenants in common, property listed for sale, closing on the 28th. Nobody had contacted me or asked for my signature. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That closing is not going to happen without you." I asked him to be specific. No title company is going to issue a clean title policy when a recorded co-owner hasn't signed off. If there's a buyer's lender, they need clear title before they fund. Even cash buyers have closing agents who run title searches. Your name shows up, everything stops. What if they try to push it through anyway? Then the title search flags your name, the closing stalls, and if your family wants to force a sale without your agreement, they take it to court. In court. Public record. Could take 6 months or more. Buyers don't wait that long. He paused. In my experience, families don't want that. I thanked him, paid the fee, and sat in the parking lot for 5 more minutes before going back inside. 24 days had become 10. I want to stop right here for just a second. If you are watching this and quietly doing the math on your own family, thinking about the invites you never got, the news you always heard last, the times you showed up and the door was locked, I want you to know something. Being easy to push around does not mean you deserve to be pushed. Being quiet does not mean you have nothing to say. And being the reliable one does not mean you are less important. Just means they got used to counting on you without counting you. Hit that like button right now if this is hitting close to home. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You might be sending it to exactly the right person at exactly the right time. December 17th. A Sunday evening. An email came from Mom. No subject line. One attachment called Lois_closing_x.pdf. One sentence. Ratch, can you sign and send back before the 24th? Just wrapping up the last of Grandma's estate stuff. Nothing to worry about. Love, Mom. I opened the PDF. Page 1 was not estate paperwork. It was a full warranty deed, a legal document transferring all ownership of 318 Magnolia Lane, Clarkton, Tennessee, from Pamela Jean Harper and Rachel Ann Harper to a buyer named Theodore Morse. Purchase price, $248,000. My signature line was on page 5. Someone had put a yellow sticky tab on it and written "Sign here" in neat round handwriting. Page 6 was the money breakdown. The full sale amount minus closing costs going to one single bank account. Mom's name. Not split 50-50 like the deed said it should be. Not shared at all. 100% of $248,000 going to Pamela Jean Harper. My name was on the signature line. My name was nowhere in the payment section. They wanted me to sign away my share of Grandma Lois's house. For free. In a PDF called Estate Paperwork sent on a Sunday with a deadline 4 days before Christmas. They were betting I would not read it. That I would just initial where the sticky tabs were and send it back the same night, grateful to be included in something, any something at all. I saved the file. Forwarded it to Marcus Webb. Forwarded a copy to Deja. Deja called me back in 11 minutes. Her voice was low and direct. Rachel. Don't sign that. Don't reply to the email. Don't say a single word. Let Marcus handle it from here. I didn't sign. I didn't reply. I left Mom's email sitting in my inbox, read but unanswered, the exact same way they left me standing on a cold front porch the year before with a pan of macaroni going cold in my hands. That night I sat on the edge of the hotel bed with the brass key in my fist and the room dark around me. The deed document glowed on my laptop screen across the room. And I thought about Grandma Lois, not the legal version of her, not the grantor on a recorded instrument, but the real woman. The one who made sweet potato pie without measuring a single ingredient. Who kept crossword books in every room. Who noticed when I went quiet and never once told me I was too sensitive. She signed that deed 10 years ago because she could see what was coming. Maybe not every detail. Not Darren's business falling apart or the bank letters or the Sunday PDF disguised as nothing, but the shape of it. She knew I was the one who would get worked around. She knew my name would be the one left off things. And she put my name on the one thing they could not move without me. That was not love being sentimental. That was love being smart. I opened my palm and looked at the key in the dim light. Thick brass. Square at the top. Worn smooth at the edges from years of sitting on a key ring. It was not a keepsake anymore. It was a title. It was proof that someone had looked at me, really looked, and decided in writing in a notary's office with a proper filing number that I belonged somewhere. 6 days. December 15th, I wrote an email to Karen Brewer at Brewer Premier Realty. I kept it clean and professional, the same way I write an inspection report when I find something that should not be there. Dear Ms. Brewer, my name is Rachel Harper. I am writing about the property at 318 Magnolia Lane, Clarkton, Tennessee, currently listed through your office. I am a recorded co-owner of this property as a tenant in common, per a quitclaim deed filed with the county recorder 10 years ago. I have not been contacted about the pending sale or asked to sign any sale documents. I would appreciate confirmation of the transaction status and an explanation of how my ownership is being handled. I have attached the recorded deed for your review. I attached the deed scan and hit send. Karen Brewer called me 4.5 hours later. Her voice was calm and professional, but underneath it was the sound of someone who had just realized a deal she thought was clean had a very large problem sitting right in the middle of it. She asked if she could call me back after speaking with the title company. She called back the next morning at 8:10. Title search had confirmed my name. Closing, she said carefully, could not move forward as it was currently set up without my participation. She asked if I had been in touch with the other owner, Pamela Harper, about the sale. No, I said. I found out through other means. A pause. I see. She said she would have to tell the seller and the buyer's agent that there was an ownership issue that had not been resolved. That is fine, I said. Please direct all further contact about the property to my attorney. I gave her Marcus Webb's information. She thanked me and hung up. The fuse was lit. All I had to do was wait. Christmas morning. I woke up at 7 in my own apartment back in Memphis. Made coffee. Sat down at my desk. The manila folder with the deed copies was right there. The brass key was next to it. The group chat was already going. Kayla posted a string of tree emojis. Darren sent a gif of a fireplace. Mom posted a photo of the dining table, white plates, red napkins, 4 candles lit, a little holly centerpiece. 4 chairs. I counted them. At 9:48 am I opened the saved draft I had been working on and rewriting for 3 weeks. Every version had gotten shorter and cleaner until there was only one sentence left. I hit send. Merry Christmas. Your title agent will explain the rest. 1 sentence. 1 period. No emoji. No explanation. I set the phone face up on the desk and watched. Kayla's typing bubble appeared. Vanished. Mom's appeared, held for a few seconds, vanished. Darren's came up for a full 15 seconds and disappeared without a single word being sent. The chat that had been bright and cheerful 4 minutes ago went dead silent. Not the silence of confusion. The silence of people who understand exactly what they are looking at and cannot find a single safe thing to say back. I picked up my coffee. Took a slow sip. Waited. Then the phone started ringing. Darren called first. I watched it buzz and let it roll to voicemail. He called again. Voicemail. Kayla called 3 times in 90 seconds. Then Mom's name started flashing over and over and over, the phone sliding an inch across the desk each time it buzzed. Dad texted me. First text he had sent me in months. 4 words, call your mom right now. I read it. Put the phone back down. I opened the Notes app and kept a tally because when I see something happening, I document it. Darren, 18 calls in the first 25 minutes. Kayla, 12. Mom, 26. Dad, 4 calls, 3 texts. 89 total. In under an hour. 89 calls. For 3 straight years they could not manage to dial my number on December 25th. Now they could not stop. Mom left a voicemail. Played it once. Her voice was high and cracking, the tone of someone whose whole plan has just caught fire. Rachel, I don't know what you think you know, but you need to call me right this second. You are blowing this completely out of proportion. Out of proportion. The woman who had run 3 years of fake dates and locked doors and managed silence was telling me I was overreacting. I played it a second time. Made sure the transcript saved correctly. Darren left one too. Shorter. Sharper. You had no right going behind our backs like this. Call me. Behind their backs. As if the group chat I was never meant to see was the front. Here is what I pieced together later, from what Deja heard through Kayla and from what Karen confirmed through Marcus. Karen had called Mom on December 22nd, just a professional heads up. The title search had flagged a co-owner, me, who had not been brought into the sale at all. Karen recommended pausing the closing until it was sorted out. Mom did not tell anyone. Not Darren. Not Dad. Not Kayla. She decided she would call Karen on the 29th after Christmas and smooth it over. She would explain that I was distant from the family and would not be a problem. She would handle it quietly on her own schedule. Then my message landed in the chat, and Karen's quiet voicemail became a fire she could not put out. Darren called Karen at 10:15 on Christmas morning. Karen was straight with him. Title showed 2 owners. Only one had authorized the sale. Closing could not go forward until the other co-owner, Rachel and Harper, either agreed to the sale or the matter was settled through a court process. That process, she told him, could take 6 months or longer. The buyers had already been told. Darren walked back into that dining room, put his phone down on the table between the white plates and the red napkins and said, "She's on the deed. The whole thing is dead." Mom sat down. Her hand went over her mouth. Dad stared at his plate. The same man who had sent a laughing emoji 3 weeks earlier now had nothing on his face at all. Kayla said the room stayed quiet for a full minute. Nobody touched the food. Mom had lit candles. They were still burning. Wax dripping. Finally Darren said, "We need a lawyer." Mom's chin started shaking. "She is ruining everything." She said it twice. Nobody disagreed. Nobody told her she was wrong. Kayla went to the kitchen and called me for the 11th time. At 11:20 I called back. One call. I chose Mom's number directly because she was the one who had planned all of it, and I wanted her to hear my voice, not a message passed through someone else. She answered on the first ring. "Rachel, what have you done?" Her voice was shaking. Kind of crying that happens when every plan falls apart at once. I could hear the room behind her, Darren's voice low and tight, Kayla sniffling somewhere in the background, the sound of a chair scraping across the floor. She had me on speaker. Good. I needed all of them to hear this at the same time in the same room together. "I have not done anything, Mom." My voice was steady. Facts first, short sentences, nothing extra. Karen Brewer ran a title search. That is standard. She found my name on the deed, which has been on record for 10 years. She paused the closing. That is what title agents do when a property has more than one owner. "You are destroying this family." Darren in the background. "She hasn't been to that house in years." I let the noise settle. "You gave me the wrong date again this year," I said. "Same as last year. You planned a sale around me not being there. You sent me sale documents disguised as estate paperwork and expected me to sign them without reading. I read them." Silence. "I read them, Mom." Then, softer, "We were going to tell you, Rachel. We were going to give you your share. We just needed to handle things in the right order." "When?" I asked. "Before or after the closing?" She did not answer. "You gave me the wrong date," I said again. "I just wanted you to know that I know. The deed has had the right date on it for 10 years. And then from somewhere at the back of the room, almost too quiet to catch, I heard Dad's voice. Roger Harper. The man who had sent that laughing emoji without typing a single word. He said, "Just barely, just enough for me to hear. We should not have done it that way." Nobody responded. He did not say anything else. 7 words. Said to no one. Landing on nothing. His one honest moment in the whole thing. I gave Mom Marcus Webb's contact and told her all property discussions needed to go through him from that point on. Then I wished them a Merry Christmas. I meant it. I truly did. And I hung up. Closing on December 28th did not happen. Theodore Morse, the buyer, pulled his offer 2 days after Christmas. His agent said the title issue had made his client uncomfortable and he was not willing to wait on a court process with no clear end date. Karen Brewer confirmed through Marcus that the listing was being pulled as of the 30th, the very day I was supposed to show up for leftovers. Darren's loan went into default in January. Without the sale money, there was nothing to cover it, and the business did not make enough through the winter to keep up with payments. His equipment got repossessed in February. I did not find this out from them. Deja heard it from Kayla and called me in late January. They are in a really rough spot, she said. I know, I said. What are you going to do? I thought about it. Talk to them. But on my terms. Not theirs. Deja went quiet. Then she said good. I told Marcus to reach out and let the family know I was open to talking about the property. Under 3 conditions. Proper mediation with a neutral third party. My ownership interest acknowledged in writing before any meeting started. And no side conversations, no surprise documents, no just sign here situations. The mediation happened in March at Marcus's office in Nashville. Mom, Darren, and Dad showed up. Kayla did not come. She told me she could not handle being in the room, and honestly I respected that more than if she had shown up pretending everything was normal. Deja sat next to me, not in any official role, just as the cousin who had been in my corner from the very first phone call. She wore a blazer and said nothing, and her just being there steadied me the whole time. Mom cried twice in the first hour. The first time I recognized immediately, the kind of tears that say I am the victim here. The second time I think was real. The mediator had laid out the numbers plainly, and I watched it hit her that the house she had grown up in, the house her own mom had loved and cared for and left behind, had become a problem she could not fix without the daughter she had been leaving off the guest list for 3 years running. Darren barely spoke for the first 40 minutes. Dad sat with his hands folded and his eyes on the table. Put 2 options on the table. We could sell the property together. Full open process, proceeds split 50-50 as the recorded deed said, every party at the table for the closing. Or I would buy out Mom's share at fair market value from a licensed appraiser, and the house would come to me. I did not offer anything else. I did not talk myself down. Darren finally leaned forward. Grandma Lois would have wanted us to settle this as a family. I looked at him for a long moment before I said anything. Grandma Lois did settle it as a family, I said. She put my name on the deed. Question is whether y'all actually think of me as part of that family or not. The mediator called a break. We took 15 minutes. When we came back, Mom asked very quietly, not looking directly at me, if things could just go back to how they used to be. The mediator asked her to explain what she meant by that. She could not. We agreed to the joint sale. The house went back on the market in April with a new listing agent. Sold in May for $252,000. Through everything was settled, my share came to $115,000. I put it in savings and did not touch it for a long time. Before the new owners moved in, I drove to Clarkton one last time. Parked on Magnolia Lane on a quiet weekday morning. Pecan tree in the back was starting to bud. I walked up the porch steps and put the brass key in the lock. Still fit. The door opened into an empty house that smelled like fresh paint with something underneath it, cornbread maybe, or just memory doing its best impression of a smell. I stood in the living room where the rocking chair used to be. I did not cry. I just looked around for a while, making sure I had the real memory stored right, not just the idea of one. I said thank you. Not to the walls. To her. Then I pulled the door shut and walked back down the steps. I took the brass key off my ring on the porch. Held it in my palm one last time, the thick square bow, the worn teeth, 10 years of being carried everywhere. Then I set it on the porch railing and walked to my car without looking back. It was never about the money. I want you to hear that clearly. It was about being the person in a family who gets left off the list so many times that eventually you start to wonder if maybe that is just where you belong. Off the list. On call. Useful when needed, invisible the rest of the time. The one who drives hours without being asked and pays deposits without being repaid and shows up with food and a smile and never once says, "Why didn't anyone just include me?" They spent 3 Christmases making sure I would not find out. 3 years of wrong dates and quiet doors and "oh, we thought we told you." And not one of them stopped for a single second to think that the woman they kept working around had already been written onto a document 10 years earlier, by the one person in that whole family who actually looked at her and decided with a notary stamp and a filing number that she belonged there. And here is the part that still gets me late at night. Grandma Lois never said a word to me about what she had done. Not in the car on the way to Mrs. Pittman's office. Not on the way back. Not over sweet tea at the kitchen table. She didn't explain her thinking or warn me that I might need it someday. She just did it. Quietly. Completely. And trusted me to find it when the time came. Most people show love loud. They need you to know they did something so they can be thanked for it. Grandma Lois showed love the way good work gets done, not for the easy days, but for the moment when everything else gives way and the only thing left standing is what was built right the first time. 52 messages. 1 reply. 89 calls I let ring. If you made it all the way here, thank you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Here's what I want you to carry with you. Your name belongs on your own life. Not buried in someone else's plans. Not in a group chat you were never supposed to see. Not on a signature line with no payment attached. Grandma Lois knew that before I did. She filed it properly and trusted me to figure the rest out. Whatever version of that looks like in your life, find it. Conversation you have been putting off. The boundary you have been afraid to set. The truth you keep smoothing over just to keep the peace with people who do not extend you the same thing back. It's time. And now I want to hear from you. Drop your city and your local time in the comments right now. I read every single one, and I want to know where in the world silent revenge is reaching tonight. If this story moved you, hit the like button. Takes 1 second and it helps this channel reach the next person who needs to hear it. Share this video with someone in your life who has been the reliable one, the quiet one, the one who always shows up. They need to know they are not alone. Subscribe to Silent Revenge so you never miss the next story. New ones drop every week and some of them will stop you cold. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.